We all know how the story of Jujutsu Kaisen goes, and how Itadori Yuji becomes a vessel for Sukuna after eating his finger. But the real question is what would happen if Gojo Satoru, the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer, consumed the finger instead of Yuji Itadori? Would he be the ideal vessel for Sukuna, or would he die? Will he be able to maintain control of his body, or will Sukuna take over? There are countless possibilities regarding this matter, but before we see those possibilities, there's a question. Why would Gojo even consume Sukuna's finger in the first place? The strongest sorcerer needing to consume the fingers and power of the King of Curses is really a ridiculous thing. Besides, at the start of the anime, Gojo was very confident that he could beat Ryomen Sukuna, even if Sukuna had all the fingers. And knowing Gojo, he wouldn't even prefer to put that disgusting finger in his mouth. And this is Gojo we're talking about. He definitely doesn't want the help of Sukuna to enhance his curse techniques. So why would the strongest sorcerer ever consume the finger of the King of Curses? Well, the answer is simple. Not quite simple, but not that deep as well. The reason Gojo could ever consume the finger is due to his cockiness. Gojo has always been I'm the one kind of guy. He's been observed countless times as a guy who's certainly confident in his strength and abilities. Even when he toyed with Sukuna at the start of the anime, he made us think that he was indestructible and untouchable. So maybe due to his thinking that he might be able to withstand and conquer Sukuna's power to prevent Sukuna from doing any damage, he might actually consume it. Even as a way to stop Sukuna and completely obliterate him from existence, he might go as far as to consume the cursed finger himself. So what will happen after that? Well, I found 3 theories that could happen if Gojo actually did eat the finger. The first one is short and simple. Gojo would simply die, being unable to become Sukuna's ideal vessel. According to the manga, Itadori wasn't really lucky with being Sukuna's vessel, but rather was created to be one after Kinjaku transformed into Itadori's mother to create him along with his father. So, if Gojo actually did consume the finger, he'd probably just die, as he's not an ideal vessel for Sukuna. Well, that's just one possibility. The second theory is if Gojo somehow becomes a good vessel for Sukuna, he would keep having internal battles with Sukuna, allowing Sukuna to rarely control Gojo's body as a vessel. Just how Itadori had defied Sukuna in the first season and throughout the series, Gojo would willingly fight Sukuna to eradicate him and take complete control over his own body. And within this, there are 2 possibilities. If Gojo lost within his own body and Sukuna takes complete control over Gojo's body, or Gojo successfully wins against Sukuna and controls his own body like regular Gojo, in which case Gojo wouldn't die like he did in the manga. If Gojo lost against Sukuna and Sukuna took complete control over him, it would mark an end of the whole world, as Sukuna would do whatever he would please. There would be no one to stop him, not any sorcerer or anything. Yuji being there would be out of the question, because Yuji certainly remains oblivious from the fact that sorcerers exist. And without meeting anyone from the Jujutsu Academy or any sorcerer in his life, he just becomes a maniac with great physical strength and no knowledge of cursed abilities. Sukuna then proceeds to take over the world along with all the other curses. Even the other curses like Jogo and Hanami would wreak havoc in the world. With this fact, even Mahito takes advantage of absence of Gojo and Itadori. With Sukuna's success on the Spark, Kinjaku is able to achieve his goal of evolving the human species as well. With his success, Sukuna proceeds to fight and kill whomever he wants, and ends up killing people like the untrained Megumi Fushiguro, or even the other Jujutsu students. You can just imagine the hellish life people, not only in Japan, but the entire world would have to face if Sukuna took control of Gojo's body. King of Curses mixing his ability with the strongest sorcerer? That's the power capable of destroying the entire world. This would be even more fearful than the so-called Golden Age of Jujutsu. If you guys don't know what the Golden Age of Jujutsu is, let me put some light on that. Basically, during the Heian era, the King of Curses, Ryomen Sukuna, was deemed supreme, and in the same era, Jujutsu was slowly building up. So the same era was deemed the Golden Age of Jujutsu. Even with the existence of the big 3 sorcerer families during the era, Sukuna still reigned as the king, which basically means no one was able to stop this King of Curses. If you guys don't know what families I'm talking about, they're the Zenin clan, the one where Megumi and Maki are from, the Kamo clan, where Kinjaku is from, and the Gojo clan, where obviously Gojo Satoru himself is from. The other clans like Inumaki and Fujiwara were formed after the Heian era. Anyway, back to the topic. If even those 3 powerhouses fell short to Sukuna at that age, it's really obvious that nobody can stand a chance against Sukuna with the power of Gojo and his 6 eyes. Hold back your tears, Gojo fans, because the next theory is for you guys. If Gojo could actually overcome the internal battle with Sukuna and win against him, Gojo obviously wouldn't die. You see, as Sukuna was the only person who could kill Gojo, and that too with the help of Fushiguro's body, with Sukuna's death, there would be no one to even touch the strongest sorcerer. But since Gojo only ate 1 finger, the other fingers being consumed by Itadori anyway is a big possibility. Since Kinjaku made Itadori to be a vessel for Sukuna, he somehow makes Itadori consume Sukuna's fingers like the original timeline. There's a high chance that the story may repeat. With this, there's also a chance of the plot getting a detour, since, well, the butterfly effect exists. If the plot changes, Yuji doesn't meet Megumi, as he wouldn't be there to save him due to the time when Yuji was supposed to be joining the Jujutsu Academy has already passed. Not meeting Megumi also results in Yuji not meeting Nobara. The trio between Megumi, Itadori, and Nobara would never be formed, and Gojo would be very less likely to be able to protect Yuji. Which all results in Sukuna taking entire control of Yuji's body and causing destruction until Gojo finally notices Sukuna's acts. Since Megumi isn't there to fight Sukuna, he isn't able to take Megumi's body and use Mahoraga to counter Gojo's infinity as he did in the manga. Sukuna having the body of Fushiguro was one of the main reasons for his victory against Gojo Satoru in the manga. There was no way for Sukuna to defeat Gojo, until and unless he could figure out a way to counter Gojo's infinity. Sukuna not having any way to effectively defend against Gojo's attacks makes him very vulnerable and eventually leads to his ultimate defeat. Him being inside Gojo's domain is enough for him to understand that it's game over for him. And knowing Gojo, he would definitely kill Sukuna rather than letting him live and cause more problems even inside his body. Sukuna in the modern age can be considered a nemesis for Gojo, and we can all agree on the hate they both have between each other. With all this happening, the entirety of the Shibuya incident never occurs. People like Nanami, Megumi, and other Jujutsu sorcerers are still alive, and Toji isn't summoned from the dead. And maybe Gojo's only choice would be to kill Yuji in order to completely eradicate Sukuna, ensuring he never ever returns again. But if he kills Yuji completely, or helps him get stronger, like the actual plot, depends all upon Gojo. For me, looking at Gojo, he probably helps Yuji get stronger, as he doesn't like to see innocent people die. Although he is cocky, he isn't the one to let people die in front of his eyes. One of the reasons he wasn't able to straight up kill Yuji in the first few episodes. Gojo eventually finds the other fingers and seals them in a place nobody would ever be able to find them. But he also may be able to destroy them so that Sukuna would be banished forever. Funny thing is, whatever possibility may occur that bends the plot, Chozo isn't able to meet his half-brother Itadori. The only way Chozo was able to meet Itadori was due to the fight Yuji had against his other brothers. So if Yuji never enrolled in Jujutsu High and never met Kugisaki, he also wouldn't meet Chozo. But not meeting Chozo causes a very bad result. Chozo follows the path of evil. But that may also spare the life of a beloved character we lost very early in the anime, Junpei. It's really interesting to know about the endless positive and negative possibilities that may result because Gojo decides to eat a finger. In the last theory, we can see that Sukuna eventually dies in a battle with Gojo. But what about Kinjaku? The mastermind behind the return of Sukuna and defeat of Gojo definitely would find a way to survive. But what would he even do after the defeat and death of Ryomen Sukuna, whom he was using to achieve his goal? There's no way he would be able to achieve his goal if Gojo eats the finger and still remains alive. He wouldn't be able to defeat Gojo on his own unless he takes control of somebody else's body this time. This time being Yuta Okotsu, the S-grade sorcerer and a distant relative of the Gojo clan itself. He may certainly need the help of another curse, Rika, which can be the topic of another cool anime theory video. But for the moment, you maybe want to click on this other cool anime video that's appearing on your screen. Go ahead, click it!